on January the 20th, 2026. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for the invocation. Diana?
Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity of being here this evening to conduct the business of the town. We just ask that you bless this meeting, Lord, and bless the decisions made, that they would benefit all of the citizens. In your name we pray. Amen.
The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
We approve the agenda.
Motion made by Councilman Brown, seconded by Councilman McGowan. All in favor? All opposed? The next is the consent agenda items. You've had a chance to read through them. Motion made by Councilman McGowan, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to approve the consent agenda items. All in favor? All opposed? The next item on the agenda is an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of Gordon Road parcel ID 05 I-05021E until February the 16th.
Just clarify, I think you were moving to continue the public hearing on that.
Right,
Is that correct?
right. To Okay. Any comments? Okay. All in favor? All opposed? And I didn't see who made the motion. McGowan made the motion and Mr. Brown seconded. I'm sorry. The attorney interrupted me and I got confused. Okay. We have a public hearing extension on the ordinance to amend the zoning for zoning partial ID 05 I-05021E until February the 16th. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Trippett, seconded by Councilman Brown. All in favor? Okay. The next item is our first open forum. Anyone wishing to address council, please come forward, state your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. No one wishing to come forward. I am closing the public forum at 6:34. Okay. The next item is comments by the mayor, and I would just like to say that I hope everybody had a very happy holiday and are getting ready to go back to work. Maybe we can stay cold free for a little while. I did attend the mayor's meeting this month in Princeton, and we are still, as a group of mayors, talking about the regionalization of water and sewer for Johnston County as we're moving forward. I also had a meeting with our representative, Larry Strickland, talking about some issues that we have in town and some things that we might need to work through with some help from him. I have a meeting planned this week to meet the new principal of the high school, which is Mr. Chad Everett. He is going to meet with me tomorrow afternoon. We're going to sit down and just talk about some of the issues, and I will bring up the transportation part. because everybody keeps asking me, and I don't know what DOT is going to do with the roads, but I'm going to ask him what he knows DOT is going to do with the roads for our new high school. But I will be meeting with him tomorrow. And have had several meetings with county staff, and we'll be having some more in the near future. But just trying to get the year started and doing the things that are needed to be done in the town. And if anybody has anything that they would like to bring to me, I'm here. I don't have an office in town, but I will meet you there anytime you want me to. That's all I have. The next item is from Leanna.
Just really quick before we go into the fee schedule, I did want to update you on the council chambers. We had a meeting this morning, and as you know, one of the delays right now, the major delay is redoing the canopy height on the front and side of the building. And the engineers are redrawing that so that they can go in, and the structural engineers have to do a redrawing of that. So they're going in to do that. And right now, they're looking at hopefully an inspection and CO date the first week of February. That's for everything to be completed. Just because we would then need some time to look through a punch list. I'm not sure if we're going to plan the open house for the February meeting, or if we will just plan to meet in that space in February and do the open house in March, just to be sure that all the bugs are out. We don't have any issues. Nobody's coming in to touch anything up, or we're making sure we know how to run the AV system and all that. So I think right now, to reduce stress levels, we'll probably plan for the open house in March.
I think that's a good idea.
The other item that's on the agenda is the approval of an updated fee schedule. And you got in your packets a copy of the current with the red line changes. So my staff and I are open for any questions. I think, as usual, the biggest changes come from the planning department. So Wendy's here to answer any questions about that I can't.
I have one question. The site plan review was completely taken off. Is that because it is added in somewhere else? So all of those items are put in with something else, right?
I know that it was on the non-residential. Wendy, do you? Okay.
We got a lot of feedback from our developers because they would call and ask about their fees, and we're like, well, the fee schedule's online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's in 2 or 3 different places. So in speaking with them and seeing what their issues were, that's when I went through and saw where we could combine some things,
Okay.
and it would not be as confusing to the ones picking it up, trying to remit money to us. So it is all combined into other places.
So these items were actually combined maybe in the major subdivision review or,
And the minor subdivision
Subdivision review,
review. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
okay.
Wendy, I did, am I on here? Okay. I did go over each one, and is there any rhyme or reason to the increase? I mean, it looks to me just like a 50% across the board, or is there a theory behind it, or?
My staff actually went through local towns around us to see what they were charging and compiled a list for me. And I used that with what we were currently charging to come up with our new rates. This puts us more in line with everyone else around us.
The only thing I would comment on is the fact that a lot of the fees are for developers and things like that. And I fully understand that. They're going to get their money back. But is there a way, again, I see us doing 50% across the board. Is there a way that we can be a little bit friendlier to the residents of Wilson's Mills? And rather than just going at 50% across the board increase, or 100% across the board increase on some of them, you know, pet registration fees, no big deal. But is there any way we can just say we're keeping it down? We're not like the others. We keep it down for the residents, or you know, you see what I'm getting at? This just came to my mind. So
The biggest The biggest fees that our public pays our citizens pay at this point is for their zoning permit. So that would be the place, if you wanted to cut some of the fees for them, that would probably be the place to do it, is with the zoning,
Yeah.
some of the zoning
Yeah,
permits.
it's not like I'm coming up for any kind of votes or anything and looking to impress the citizens, but I'm just saying across the board, if there's a way that we can be a touch friendlier to the citizens and not just because everybody else does it. Would it hurt that much?
Mm-mm.
I don't know how the
So
board feels about that.
Are you
but
are you just looking at like a single family dwelling?
if
to re-
something went from 200 to 400, which I'm sure it's in there somewhere, make it 200 to 300, not up to 400. Let's take it, give our citizens a little bit of a break. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Anybody has any? Are you sure I'm already up? Okay. Anybody else look at them in depth and have any feeling about that?
The stormwater review one is the one that went from 200 to 400 per disturbed acre.
Yeah.
And that's what the developers pay.
Yeah, that's their.
That's a developer fee, is a stormwater management fee.
Okay.
And I'm not saying we only need to go up on the developer's fees, but that's the only one that went up from 2 to
Well,
400.
Developers are going to get that money back in the long run from the citizens. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'll be glad to sit down and we can talk through some of these if you decide you would like to sit down and talk, meet with someone and talk it out before you definitely decide to adopt it.
Well,
I have a question. Okay. Most of these fees are for staff doing work to, say, for a zoning compliance. They want to build a house. The staff has to do the same work, whether we charge $100 or $250. Is this
Mhm.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we're trying to do is to say, okay, we're trying to recoup some of the time and effort that our staff puts into it to pay for this.
Something else that we have started doing in the last year and a half with our zoning permits, there's also a zoning inspection that goes with that. And I built that inspection fee into the application fee. I did not clarify that on
okay,
here.
well, perhaps I should have put more thought into it,
So,
but
So,
it was just a thought,
so that is included in with the zoning fee.
yes, ma'am, that's
So
included
the
with the
inspection fee.
application fee. That covers their inspection fee.
So, so these things that are listed are what's needed for our staff to be able to do the job that our citizens are requesting for them to do. And that covers the inspections and the fees for the application and reviewing the application and all of that.
So Wendy, just for my benefit and maybe someone else's. So of this fee restructuring, when's the last time we done a fee restructuring?
2019, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's what, 7 years ago, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me on, and I've looked at all of them, but tell me what impacts citizens, not developers, just the average Joe citizen that goes to town hall on these fees. What's the most impactful one?
The zone,
What is going to
With
cost
zoning.
them?
the zone.
So explain that to me. So if I want to rezone,
No.
No.
If you want to place an accessory building in your yard, or if you want to build a fence in your yard, you would have to have a zoning permit.
Okay.
And you would come in, fill out the zoning application, and we have the different tiers now with this. Different tiers, whether it's a fence or whether it's an accessory structure, shed, porch, pool, or paving. And that money that they're paying, say the $50 for the fence permit, that covers the time that the staff takes to process the application and approve it, get it sent everywhere it needs to go, out to the fence companies, back to the homeowner. Then once the fence is up, the staff rides by
Inspects.
and verifies the fence is where it's supposed to be.
Okay. So it's just basically if I'm gonna add on, I'm gonna bring in a storage building, fence,
a house.
I'm gonna build a deck, those sort of things.
For your average homeowner,
Correct.
yes.
Okay, that's what,
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions, or do you want to go back through it again, or what do we want to do? Do we want to?
I'm satisfied because I didn't really think through the idea of the staff having to, you know, reevaluate everything. So
well,
I, go
you,
ahead. No,
well, I'll just make the motion that we approve the proposed fee schedule change for the town of Wilson's
I'll
Mills.
second that.
Motion made by Councilman Brown, seconded by Councilman McGowan. Does anyone have any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. The next item on the agenda is a budget amendment from Ms. Sherry.
Evening, council. In your package, you have, a first budget amendment of the fiscal year 25-26 for the general fund and also our master plan fund. For the general fund, it covers a lot. However, I feel like there'll be another one at the end of the fiscal year. For the master plan, I think that will cover it for the year because we are like getting in the short rows of finishing that fund up and just clearing out that grant. So have you have any questions in reference to what has been presented?
Make a motion, we approve the budget amendment number 1 for the town of Wilson's Mills as presented.
For the general fund and the master plan fund?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion made by Councilman McGowan, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Trippett. Are there any questions for Sherry? All in favor? All opposed? Okay,
Thank you, council.
thank you, Sherry. Do we have any comments from the members of council?
Yes, I have two. Jen, I sent an email to Jen earlier this month after that last staffing report. And it had to do with, what was the contractor's name? Can you fill me in on that again? Because I left that at home, but the question was, we didn't need to have, or a contractor that we were going to do business with did not have to have insurance. We determined that. And my question to you was, I'm not comfortable with that. Would it be okay that we insist upon a hold harmless agreement? You were going to take that before council, correct?
Correct. So I did reach out to Gabe in regards to it. So long story short, we don't have to have an agreement. There's not a big liability to us, but I can let Gabe touch base on the attorney side of things.
Yeah. Who was the contractor? Yeah, I left that.
Yeah, so it's a mobile detailing.
That's what.
mhm.
Right, so, Jenny sent me that email with a question that you had posed about requiring a hold harmless agreement for a mobile detailing company that my understanding was would come onto town property and perform detailing for town employees as a courtesy or convenience, so they won't have to go to the site off-site to do that. And I just explained that in terms of liability, you don't owe them any very high standard or guarantee their safety like any other guest on property that's owned by the town or even people who, in their private ownership of property. The duty that you owe to guests or invitees is simply one of reasonable care. And That translates to negligence. If you violate the duty of care that's owed to another, that's the standard for negligence. So only if the town were negligent um, in this situation would there arise any liability. And it was difficult for me to foresee. Of course, there could be something that I can't foresee, but how liability would arise merely by providing a place for this to occur, like a piece of the pavement or water. Additionally, a hold harmless would be directed at injuries or damages to the company itself. In other words, if you were to do a hold harmless, they would say, well, we agree not to hold you liable for any injury or damage to us in performing those duties. And those would seem to be, again, like I said, relatively narrow set of circumstances where something like that would happen. More common, sort of, not maybe more common, but, compare that to, for example, somebody who was having their vehicle worked on who had damage, or somebody who slipped and fell in the soapy suds that they spilled on the ground while performing this. That would be the hold harmless wouldn't protect you there. Then in that case, you would need an indemnity agreement where they agree to hold you harmless from third party claims. And I don't think any company would be willing to do that simply in exchange for performing a service. If they were wanting to contract with the town for some sort of consideration, then indemnity becomes part of the discussion. But I don't think in this case, unless you want to make it a practice requiring anybody who comes on the town property to sign a hold harmless agreement, I think it would run them off, honestly.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I look out for the town in this case. That's all I'm looking at. And I know how people are quick to get involved in lawsuits, figuring the town's got deep pockets. Don't want, if
Yeah.
you're comfortable with it, then I'll go with it.
I'm comfortable with it. I'm not guaranteeing you that nothing will ever occur, but
Okay.
I'll draft it if you like, but I
That's
I-
between you and Leanna. I'm not concerned if you're comfortable with it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
I'm
the
okay
second
with it.
thing I had, thank you, Counselor, and Jen, thank you. The second thing I had was, I don't know if this was a one-off situation, but the other day I was coming down Fire Department Road and it was dark and the traffic backed up to get into the school was just, I mean, people were having to go into the opposing lane of traffic, and I did it too. Cross over and go around. You didn't see this, you didn't hear it. Go all the way around and come in, but the school had for some reason blocked off, you know how they always go into the parking lot and circle around? They had it blocked off. And now everybody's out on the street. What's going on? I mean, that's very dangerous.
Well, I go by there several times daily, and it's like a certain time. And I think probably without knowing for sure, probably the reason they do that is because if you line cars up in the parking lot, like when I was picking up my children here, nobody in the parking lot can get out. You can't
Teachers.
back out and leave. So I think they hold that open and at a certain time then open it so people in the parking lot can exit the school, because if not, then you're not going to leave until that whole line is done. And I think it goes back to planning. When they planned the school and the traffic, we had nothing of the traffic that we do now.
A lot of it is 95% of the mamas won't let them ride the bus home. They got to come and pick up their little ones.
Well, I will tell you that the school system is talking about fixing it so that the parking for the children will come this way and go all the way around the
All the way
school
around,
and then pick up.
whatever
And
it
that,
takes to get them off the street.
that would be a
I mean, how many
win-win.
kids are going to be tempted to sneak out and go out there and meet mommy out there on the highway? I don't know. I'm just saying it's very dangerous for them as well as us as drivers.
Well, the teachers are not supposed to allow them to go out until they've been
Right,
called.
but I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm just, that's what's supposed to
And
happen.
I think now that we don't have baseball fields back here, that it is very appropriate to have a drive all the way around, and that will accomplish a lot of that, trying to come in that small parking lot.
Whatever we can do to
Yeah.
encourage them to do that.
That is on the books
and
to
as
be
soon as
done.
possible.
And that might be something that mayor can can,
I'll-
you know, look
I'll talk with
into.
the school board
school
about it,
board.
because, yeah, I've got another meeting with them, so,
That's all I have. Thank you.
okay. Anyone else? Okay. It's now time for our second open forum. Anybody that has any comments that want to address council, come forward, state your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. No one coming forward. I closed the second open forum at 6:55.
Make a motion, we go into closed session concerning 143-318.11A3, consult with attorney. 143-318.11A6, personnel.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. So we're gonna go into closed session in the school.
The attorney, hello. The attorney is going to be probably about 15 or 20 more minutes. So we will do the
Personnel.
item B first.
Okay.
And then, so if you would also just mention that Wendy will come in
Okay, and
to the
Wendy,
first part.
Wendy, the first part or the second?
I mean, to the second part. Sorry.
Okay, so we'll let Wendy,
Give her a heart attack.
do we need to amend that?
Yes, he needs to amend his motion.
I motion to include Wendy, the planning director, into the
Part with the attorney.
closed session.
Okay. You going to second it? You,
Oh, yeah.
Second.
okay. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you for coming out. Sorry it was a short, unexciting meeting.
Yeah, we're going into the other room there. Okay.
First part. I think I'm going to go ahead and invest in decent online.
Yes.
I bought that Hobby Lobby the other day. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably a good place to go.
I see online really nice.
Yeah.
You know me, I